This video focuses on typing calculations in Microsoft Word. Often, once we enter our data, we must analyze that data. The analysis frequently involves calculations. It is critical in lab reports that we show the work for those calculations. How do we show that work in Microsoft Word? An example of a calculation might be the conversion of 6.65 inches to meters, as you see on the screen in front of you, handwritten. 65 inches is 1.7 meters. But the real question here is not how do you do the work, but how do I show that same work in Microsoft Word? We're going to reproduce this particular calculation. Of course, the first step in that process is to open a blank Microsoft Word document. So you can read this better, I'm going to increase the font size. However, it is not necessary to do that on a standard lab document. To insert our work, it is usually best to use the Microsoft Equation Editor. That editor is available in the Insert tab. You'll notice if you click Insert, over to the right, there's an option to Insert Equation. If you click on Insert Equation, you will be given an equation box that says Type Equation here. You will also notice a vast array of symbols and options available to you to format your particular equation in a useful way. There are fraction layouts that you can use, various brackets and parentheses, square root type signs, exponential and logarithmic type functions, etc. It will take some time for you to get used to the entire functionality of this portion of Microsoft Word. However, I am happy to assist if you have questions. Right now, I'm simply going to show you how to reproduce the simple equation I showed you earlier, which was the conversion, to remind you, of 65 inches to meters. So, how do we start? Well, first and foremost, make sure that you're typing in the equation box. Otherwise, you're just typing standard text. I want to convert 65 inches, so I'm going to type 65 space IN. Now, you noticed in our previous example that was in parentheses. If I highlight the 65 IN, select the bracket tab, I can place my 65 inches in parentheses. Now, the remainder of the calculation used ratios in a fraction form, a process known as dimensional analysis. So, let's click on the fraction template and put a fraction template next to our 65 inches. We want that template to be in parentheses, so highlight it, and again select the parentheses. In the top of that fraction, we want to type 2.54 centimeters, cm, and at the bottom, the 1 inch. Now we need a second fraction. Move my cursor beyond the parentheses of the first fraction. Get the second fraction template from above in the toolbar. Again, place that second fraction, into parentheses. And in this fraction, we want 1 meter on the top and 100 centimeters on the bottom. Notice, as I'm beginning to show my work for my calculation here, I am including units where needed. It is important in chemistry to keep track of units. It usually aids us in getting the correct answer and better understanding how we arrived at that answer. If we carry out this calculation, it equals, so we'll put an equal sign, 1.7 meters. And usually I put a space between my number and my unit. That's not strictly necessary. It just looks better. If you want to exit the equation editor and continue typing normal text, simply click outside of the equation editor box and you can return to normal typing. Of course, when you are finished, you'll want to save your equation, which you may notice often defaults to the center of your page unless you add typing afterwards. You can also change that by clicking on the equation box and saying left justify, center, right justify, etc. Again, as I was saying, when you're done, just like everything else, you'll want to save your work. File, save, select a location, and save the document. I highly recommend that you take some time to play around with the equation editor in Microsoft Word as you go throughout the semester typing up various lab reports. The various reports may require certain calculations to be shown, and some are more complex than others. Some are also very easy and may be able to be typed in with just straight up text. But make sure whatever you type in is conveying the work that you did. Otherwise, there may be some doubt as to how you arrived at your answer, even if the answer is correct. Now it's your turn to try. We've given you a similar conversion here to type into Microsoft Word using the equation editor. Note, this must be typed using the equation editor. Do not type it in as standard text, as you will not receive full credit on your assignment. Make sure that when you are finished, you save your work. This calculation should appear below the chemical equation you just typed. Once you have saved your work, you have successfully completed all of the elements necessary for the D2L lab report module. You now have to upload your finished Microsoft Word document. To do that, go to the course D2L page. Click on the Assignment tab at the top of the page. Click on the folder labeled Lab Report D2L Module, and then upload your completed Microsoft Word document. In other words, it is important that you know where you saved that document. The completed document contains your name at the top, the title, as outlined in the video on creating a table. It also contains a table, contains a graph, it contains a chemical equation, and it contains the calculation you just typed. If you have any questions or problems as you generate the Microsoft Word document, please don't hesitate to contact me.